And the one thing I wanted to mention about Sam is he's like never sleep. You text him, he will reply you within a couple of minutes.
So welcome back to the Jim's podcast. With me today, I've got Eddie Sy from Jim's Building Inspections Box Hill, who's just finished his 1 year in Jim's. But it'd be great to have Eddie to come in and chat about all things building inspections, which is very topical now with all these new changes with the government, which we're going to get into later. But Eddie, first of all, how did you get involved with Jim's Building Inspections in the first place?
It's quite simple, straight away. So I get injured of my right knee.
Right.
And I used to working in construction site as a carpenter and work for friend as a site manager.
Yeah.
And suddenly I can't work. So my wife, she say, you better quit the heavy job and anymore, And then I was struggling because I like to, I study. I'm more like a hands-on person.
Yeah.
I like to do things. And I said, well, if I quit the site, what can I do? And suddenly Sam, his advertisement on Facebook pop up. And I thought, oh, maybe inspection is a business I can study. And then I went to Sam his promotion events. And I met Sam, and he explained to me how inspections, building inspection and inspectors, they work about. And I thought, okay, that might be the good opportunity for me to shift my career. And of course, at the first time, we didn't make a decision, wanted to join Jim's. Yeah. And there are a couple of companies and franchise, in this marketing. And we do a little bit of research, and we found Jim's building inspection would be the best solution for us.
Good.
Yeah, because the brand and the reliability, I think, is quite important.
Absolutely. And how's the first year been for you?
The first week.
First year in business been for you? First year, because I think you've just done your first year now. So how's that all been?
Okay.
Because transitioning from on the tools for so long when you're doing things, and now inspections is a completely different, I guess, game.
It does. I can't quit. Actually, that's the on-site job.
Oh, right.
I can't totally. I just can't move from here to here. So there's a transition. And I think the difficult things for me is the marketing.
Yeah.
So people, they don't know what can I do. On site, they know I'm a carpenter, I'm a builder, I have a knowledge about that. But for the inspection marketing, when you met the people, they wanted to hire you to do the inspection. They thought, well, what can you do? And especially my English is not my mother language, so they could put a lot of question mark on me. It's quite fearful. I would probably do the same things. And the marketing is my challenge. And the second thing is whether can I get support from my franchisor. And the trainings is also important. And I found in this past year, Sam gave me so many support. Yeah, that I think in this year, well, it's awesome. It's quite. I won't say it's the best experience become a franchise, of Jim's Building Inspection.
Yeah. That's good to hear. So, what's been the support like? Are you talking about just calling up about how to do certain things, or what's the support from Sam been like, and what do you mean by that? Okay,
so I would say. Be frankly speaking, I like a white paper in this industry, like doing inspection. So I don't know where can I find my client.
Right.
Okay. And how can I talk to the client?
Yeah.
So you can't just be like from a builder to a marketing guys. That's different profession. So every time I just ring Sam. Hey Sam, how can I find my guy? So you will give me a bunch of tips. You can probably looking for buyer agents.
Yeah.
You probably need to meet accountants, okay, and meet the lawyers, meet this guy, that guys. And I tell him, how should I talk to them? So he just type in a lot of words, tips for me. What should you talk to them?
Yeah.
And tell them what's your advantage, what sort of value you can provide.
Yeah.
And I think it does help. So I have also asked my friends. They own their franchise to the other company. The things they feel really the things matter is you should get the support from your group, your franchisor. So I believe Sandy did that.
And you've been getting that. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, no, Sam's probably the best network marketer in the group. So you've probably got the best guy in the whole gyms group to sort of help you with that sort of thing. So
Yes.
definitely in your division, you guys, B&Is and all those sorts of things, you're really good with it. Yeah.
And the one thing I wanted to mention about Sandy is he's like never sleep. You text him, he will reply you within a couple of minutes.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Now let's talk about then the services in your division, because I think building inspections is getting a lot more awareness now, because I think there's a pretty big YouTuber online which people see all the time. Site inspections. He does a great job. But I think there's a lot of awareness around what you do. Probably 6 years ago, maybe there wasn't as much, whereas now I think it's just becoming, people, if you go to buy a house, look at a property, you need to get a pest and a building inspection done. So do you want to talk about the services you've been doing in your business?
So we do pre-purchase building inspection.
So pre-purchase, so when someone's thinking about buying a home,
Yes.
they get you in?
Yes.
Now, when should they get you guys involved in it? Like is it when they're looking at a property, or what's the time frame for them to get you?
The best time frame, I believe, for them is when they're interested in any property.
Right.
Because in my belief, invest or buy a property is a big amount of money. So it's not like buying a used car, right? So most of people, they might spend their whole life, to pay the debts, to pay the loan, mortgage, sort of things. So would be the best timing for them when they're interested in a property, so they can clearly understanding what sort of defects or potential issue of the buildings that they can avoid to purchase I won't say it's a bad property.
Yeah.
But they can avoid them to make a wrong investment. Like but depends on client. A couple of my clients, they don't worry about the defects.
Yeah.
Because they come to me and they say, we cannot renovate anyway, because they like the location. They just wanted to know how many defects, major, minors, and they put that into their renovation list.
Yeah.
So I got a client like that. They just wanted to know what sort of issues of this property. Some client, they just holding different opinions. They thought the property should like brand new for them.
Yeah.
So no issues, no defects. So I always explain to them, you need to think in different perspective. Like you buying a used car, a new car, you should hold in different expectation. So that's the things. Yeah.
I think now with all the videos that go around, new sales are probably, people see all the issues with new builds that have been going on. There's a lot of defects with a lot of the new builds. So I think there's a lot more awareness around that now, which has been good for you guys. And I think, so with that, so for example, someone looks at a property, they just call up and go, look, I'm thinking about buying this property, and you go and look at it, or how does the actual process work?
So I will ask the client, send me their information, like name, contact number, email, property address.
Yep.
So I will look on site or go check in on the website, what's the information I can grab from the property.
Yep.
So I provide the best quote for my client. The best quote, not the lowest. It's, it should be fair. So some buildings, like it could take me 3 hours to do the inspection.
Right.
Some buildings just half hour.
Right.
So after I grab all the information, I prepare the quote for my client with agreement and my profile. So maybe my client wanted to know who he is engaging. And what sort of qualification he has. So sort of documents I send to the client.
Sure.
Once they're happy, they just apply, they accept the terms, then I can arrange the time for them.
And that's it. And with the actual report itself, like how involved is it? Because I know there's a difference between the gym's building inspection reports in terms of what you guys provide compared to other competitors. It's quite in depth what you provide. Do you want to just talk about the difference between your reports and maybe some of the other ones?
I think gyms in building inspection, we've been trained, all the reports should comply with the standards, Australia standards, AS 43, 49.1.2, it's about timber pest, building a pre-purchase inspection standards. So compared with the other inspectors, they might just mention there's a defect. And
that's it, nothing more.
I can see that in couple of reports.
Right.
So gyms is different, so they require there's minimum standards
Yep.
you need to comply. And the second thing is we've been asked, how can you provide extra value for your client? So standard is just we say the pass score. So we might have to put extra recommend. Even you need to find the difference of this property to the potential risks and problem compared to the other inspectors. Yeah, that's we put the different things in the report.
Yeah, I think I've seen a few of the reports. I remember I asked the team to send me through so I could see the comparison, and yeah, the difference between what you guys provide compared to others is quite astounding. And the amount of photos you guys take on site and put in this thing in, you do it all on the app. It looks really, really good as well. And I think something you guys do that I know you do is you provide support post the report. So if you give them a report, you don't just sort of go, that's it. Like if a client has any questions about it, you speak to.
No. So what do we normally do? I think all the building inspection, gyms building inspectors, they do these things. So after they send the report, in the following day we ring client. So we ask, do you have any question? And we give them all the solutions, and not the construction solutions. We give them the solution and we solve their problem, the questions.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite important. So many of my clients appreciate about that. I think it benefits our client.
Yeah.
Because some technical terms may difficult to the client. For example, starts. What's starts? There are so many start, gem star, junk star. So for example, in framing, and it does help my client understanding, what sort of property they want. And what sort of issues, not just given the report and they have to read through everything.
Yeah.
The report can be up to 100 pages easily.
Yeah, they're quite in detail, and I think the good thing for people to know as well is that you guys own the business, whereas some other companies you might be talking to the employee or a subcontractor sometimes, and I think that's a big difference because it's your business, it's your reputation, right? And you're probably going to care a little bit more than probably the sub or the employee. But I was going to say, what are then maybe with there's a lot of stuff around housing and stuff now and building and things like that. So what are the sort of issues that you see more and more when it comes to pre-purchase inspections?
I think the first one still water leakings.
Water leaking, water leaking is pretty bad, right?
Water leakings, water increase from the roof, from gutters,
right?
Even from the property, the site conditions.
Yeah,
it doesn't have property fall around the property,
right?
So the water can go into the subfloor and without proper ventilation, sort of things. Yeah, you can see the rising dents in full brick house. Yeah.
That's a big problem, isn't it?
It is. So water issue will be the first one. The second one, I would say some houses, they use stump. Okay, stump is good footings in Australia. But if the owner, they don't know how to maintain their subfloor, and it could cause the problem. Yeah. Because the stumps can be pushed up and down by moisture. Yeah. So they're the two biggest issues you generally see. So with the water stuff, is it more just the builders not doing the right job, or why does that get to that stage? You mean the water?
Yeah.
I would say for example, waterproofing standards just been updated in 2021. Before 2021, I would say the standard is more suitable past the weather in the past.
Right.
So you gotta you can feel it's getting moisture in now recent years compared with like 2020 before. You can hang your clothes and it dry within a couple of hours.
Right.
In the past 10 years, but now you probably gonna to wait for 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
And that changed the waterproofing system in the bathroom, and your gutters as well.
Yeah.
So what I normally see is when I go into the roof, I can see the roof tiles without proper flushing. That's because back to maybe 20 years ago, water won't get you won't get dent under the tiles when the weather changes.
Yeah.
But now the moisture getting higher in the environment.
Right.
And the roof space make the temperature difference outside and inside. Outside is hot, inside is cooler. So in the surface of the tile, it could make the damps or the moisture accumulates.
Right.
And it will go down to your roof sheets. So that's another issue I mean seeing. So for the old houses, that's kind of issue of the water increase from the rooftop.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just an issue of bad timing, I guess, until the standard's updated. And now, so I do hear this all the time, like even with our place, like waterproofing, like it was done properly, and we're getting a bathroom renovation, and the waterproofing will be done properly. And you see a lot of stuff online now. It's all waterproofing issues.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
From these new builds.
Yes. So for the waterproofing, I went to a couple of companies. They provide waterproofing material like Artex, the Mape, and the local Austria brands. There are a couple of brands. I went there. So I want to study every brands, every material because they're different. So I realized most of builders, I won't say they are wrong. They got experience maybe 20 years ago. They're really, really good builders. But the standard changes.
Yeah.
Okay, the material changes. So waterproofing is not just applied to coats like paintings. Now it does require to understanding what sort of memory you're using, and what's the minimum thickness they're looking, what sort of preparation before you apply the memory. So every company has different expectation. So you need to know that before you just hire a labor to do the job.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because the really important thing I think then is if someone's getting a new build, they just assume all this stuff is done correctly, but we know it's not. So they can get you guys in. So let's say someone's building a new house or a townhouse or whatever, they can get you in from the start to go through and make sure it's all done properly. Because I think people don't think of this. They just assume it's going to be done right, but there's so much stuff online now showing that's not the case. So what's that type of inspection where they get you through at each stage?
So we also do new construction stage inspection.
Yeah.
So waterproofing, we can individually do waterproofing inspection for client.
Ah, okay, right.
Yes, or we call lockup fixing stages.
Yep. So every stage of the new build, you can go in there and just have a look and make sure everything's kept accountable.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think from a cost point of view, it's actually quite cheap compared to if you have issues down the track, like compared to getting you guys in to make sure that the builder's accountable and you can talk to the builder and you know the lingo. Is that something you do quite often, or is that?
Yes, we do that.
Yeah.
Especially, I met a client, met my friend a friend last night. So there was a Taiwan festival in Federation Square.
Yeah.
I met one of my friends. They hire a boarding builder going to build their new house in Burwood. So I believe those boarding builders, they run pretty good business. But one shortage is they have limited site manager.
Right.
Okay, so they do good job. But the thing is, the site manager, they might look after 20, 30 construction site at the same time.
Wow.
So they can oversee everything. So I tell that's why he come to me and say, Eddie, can you do the inspection for me when they're building the new homes? I say yes, and you have to talk to your volume builder and their site manager. We are not coming to make a problem. We coming to help them. So sometimes they couldn't oversee everything, every detail. We went there, we provide a report. We put this report to the client and to the site manager, help them to manage the site. Okay, I think that's the value we wanted to provide.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to be clear with that one, so the volume builders who people will be familiar with, there's a shortage of site managers. So they can't look over everything all the time. So a person who's getting a build with them should just get you in there as another extra set of eyes to make sure the project stays on time and everything's getting done right.
Yep.
Okay, great.
So let me make an example. So I was a site manager, so I'm looking for a couple of sites. So when this construction site, they were building a framing. Okay, the framer, they do the right thing, but still a couple of things they might mix. And building surveyor, they couldn't stay there to check everything, tick everything for 4 hours, 2 hours. So they might mixing something. So for us, that's our job. We go there, we check, and tell them, hey, you might mix this.
Yeah.
So it's not, we are not going to make a problem to them. It's we wanted to that the builders or site manager they can appreciate their client, right? So they're happy that when clients say, oh, that's good, you know, you notice something we didn't understanding, and they fix it.
Absolutely. And I think because everyone's under time pressure, and they're probably working on multiple jobs, and they've got to get to the next job. I think just making sure things are done properly and getting involved is an absolutely essential thing. It's not that much of a cost when you compare to if things are not done right or things happen. I think getting you involved is really key. Now, you mentioned you do the stage inspections, you do pre-purchase inspections. What other types of inspections do you do?
Timber pest inspection.
Timber pest, right.
And hazmat material inspection.
Hazmat, okay, yeah.
Like asbestos, mold.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, asbestos, I guess that would, if someone's thinking about doing like a knockdown rebuild type of thing, or when do they get you involved to sort of look at for asbestos?
Most of my clients, when they wanted to do renovation.
Renovations, right.
I think asbestos awareness is getting bigger in every trades. So when I see through the tiles under the tile underlays, then they would stop the job, and they would suspect, they would find the suspect asbestos.
Yeah.
So they would talk to the owner. They couldn't do anything. So before they hire someone to make sure to take the sample and make sure it's asbestos or non-asbestos,
right?
So they can continue the job.
Yeah.
So that's the timing they hire us.
So you do the sampling, do you, or how do you? Yeah.
We do sampling, and we pack the sample to the laboratory,
right?
To the NATA accredited lab to test the sample.
Yeah. And how common is it?
It's quite common.
Right.
Yeah, like a couple of leads a month.
Oh, right. And what about in terms of homes? How common is it in asbestos in homes? Like if you're doing a renovation and your home's older than year 2000, will it most likely have it, or how much of it is there?
So that I would say after 1980s. 1980s, the asbestos been introduced to the building and construction industry.
Right.
It's good material.
Yeah.
It's fireproof, waterproofing,
yeah.
temperature insulation. Good material, but it's just not good for the human health.
Yeah.
And it's been widely used in construction.
Yeah.
So it can be used into the sewage pipe, the ventilation pipe.
Right.
And in tile underlay, vinyls, it's nearly everywhere. Roof sheets, sort of things.
Yeah.
Insulation inside the walls,
And also you mentioned timber pest. So we're going to talk about timber pest and what should people know about timber pest inspection?
A timber pest is majorly we looking for, we call termite.
Yeah.
But termite, it's sometimes difficult to find. They're living behind the wall. You can't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it does make a lot of damage in your structure. So when I was a carpenter working for a company, and they sent me to do a renovation, we wanted to change a doorway. When I take the door jambs, door frame off, and I realized all the timbers it looks a bit weird. So I try to squeeze, and I realized I become a Superman. So what happened is the termites, they eat everything inside of the timber.
Yeah.
And they leave like a very thin skin of the timber. So from outside it looks perfect, but when you squeeze it, it's like a paper. So I thought, I was a Superman, but actually it's all live termites.
Yeah.
So the area like in Wangtena.
I was going to ask about your area because it'd be very woody, lots of trees and all that sort of stuff there, right?
Yeah, Wangtena, you can find the termite there easily.
So when you find termites, like what's the next step? Like you obviously got to try and assess the damage, or how do you sort of deal with it? So you go, right, this place has got termites, or what do you sort of then, what do customers then have to do next, or what's involved?
Okay, I would say the first thing is to identify what sort of termite. So they have so many.
There's different types of termites,
yes,
right?
Yes. Yeah. And to identify what sort of termites, because their habitation behavior is different.
Yeah, yeah.
So that sort of things to help the timber pest management company. They know how to solve the issue. Some termite living there, some termite living here. So identify what sort of termite, and we find what sort of conducive condition to the timber pest to do the termite. So like we wanted to cut down the food sources for the termite. So that's sort of things we do, and we find a damaged area. Where is the area the damage? Is it whether the termite damaged the structure part or not? It's quite important. So we specify those things for the client.
And so you mentioned asbestos, you got termites. Is there any other types of inspections that you do in your business, or?
Like property condition inspection.
Property condition report, okay. Right, do you want to talk about that?
Property condition, just for some client, they wanted to know the conditions they might to rent. They might want to sell, sort of client.
Right.
It's similar to building inspection, but the purpose of using the houses is different.
Okay. Do you want to just talk about that? So what's the purpose of the difference?
For some vendors,
right?
I shouldn't say vendors.
Yeah, that is right.
They know they might want to sell they wanted to rent their property.
Ah, right. Rent it out. So they didn't know. It tells them the issues before they go to rent it out. Okay, right. Yes. And is there anything other types of reports you do, or is those all of them for your business?
I think that's cover most of my business. One thing we do is tax depreciation.
Oh, you do tax depreciation. All right. Do you want to explain what that means for people?
Tax depreciation is for the investors. They might have multiple properties, so they can deduct their tax every year. So what we do is we go on site to record all the property of what sort of how can I say that?
Depreciation, right? So it's a tax depreciation schedule. So that you got to so you do that report. Is that every year you do the report, or is it once?
Every year.
Every year, right?
Every year.
Okay. So is that something that's if you've got like property investment, you need to get a tax depreciation report done for that?
Of course, you can save some tax.
Yes. Okay, so it's good to do.
Yes.
So that goes now to my question about the government. Obviously, they've done a few changes which will affect investors and tax depreciation. So what are your sort of thoughts about all those changes that have been happening?
The one obvious things happening to us is back to 2-3 weeks ago, and the number of clients decreased dramatically.
Right.
Yeah. So normally we got probably 5 leads, 10 leads sometimes during the first or second quarter.
Yeah.
We got 5 or 10 leads per week.
Yeah.
And suddenly the number just dropped.
Yeah. So it's had a bit of effect, I guess, with people not knowing what's going on, and there needs to be a lot of changes in the market, I guess, with it.
Yes.
And obviously auction clearance rates are slowing down and things like that. But I think, as you know, like property's a cycle, I guess. It's always ups and downs and there's things like that. And you probably would have had the same experience in your first 12 months of business with ups and downs.
Yes, up and downs, yes.
All right, well, let's talk about then. So let's talk about then your business. So what have then been some of the up moments for you? What have been some of the good things you've had in your business?
I would say, sorry, that question.
Like, what have been some of the up moments? Like, what have been some good moments for you over the last 12 months with what you've been doing?
I would say the quarter 3 and quarter 4.
Okay,
that would be the good time.
Yeah, just mean heaps of clients coming through. Yes. And you've been converting pretty well.
Yes.
Yeah. And what type of clients are you mainly get your clients from referrals, or are you getting them from the call center, or where do you get your clients from?
For me, for the 1 years, franchise, it's like a 50-50.
50-50 mixture. Yes. So generating your own work, and you do stuff from the call center and website. Great. And then what about the challenges? What have been the challenging moments of doing this business for the first 12 months?
I think the marketing.
Marketing.
So a couple of things.
So you have to market yourself heavily in your division, right? Yeah.
Yes. So the marketing is, for me, is quite challenging because my original background, I was an engineer. I was a mechanical engineer to electrical products design.
Yeah.
So the only things I do is sitting in the office for 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you want me to go out and talk to the client?
Yeah.
I don't know how. And how to build the trusts. That's the challenge. The second challenge for me. Even I got this kind of qualification, but how you got to sell yourself to the client at the first sight is really difficult for me. And how to find the client, what they need is the other challenge for me.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So building trust is something that's but the thing is, you've got the knowledge, and you can build trust by sharing your knowledge, right? So when you can go into these places and stuff, and you can just offer free advice or report or whatever you do, that can definitely help. But I think that's a challenge for a lot of people when they come from backgrounds where they're not talking to people for a lot, or sitting in an office. Then all of a sudden you've got to get out there and be really proactive. It can be very hard. Yeah. But the first 12 months in business is generally the hardest, and you've got through that, which is great. With your industry as well, what do you love about it? What do you like about being in building inspections?
Okay. And I want to be frankly to say
Yeah.
that. So, join the building inspection franchise. My wife, my boss, her
Your boss?
ideas. Yeah,
Right.
That's her idea.
Call the wife the boss. That was her idea.
He's
Right.
my boss. Yes.
Right.
And that wasn't my idea, but
Right.
she saw it's good for my health.
For your knee. Yeah.
Yeah, she loves me very much, so I appreciate. And for me, I was, what should I do? I don't want to back to my original life, sitting in office typing report, do this kind of things.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning, I couldn't find I couldn't enjoy. I would say that I couldn't enjoy to become an inspectors.
Yeah.
Or building consultants. But one day there's a mother, and she's my client. She came to me. She said she just immigrated from overseas, and her children. She has a children, and she has a little bit disability, and
Right.
looking for a right house for her children.
Yeah.
And that touched my heart because I'm a Christian. I believe in God. So I feel that probably something I need to do for for her. So I spend so much time to tell her the how can I say, what sort of
Options options
yes.
for her. Yeah.
Yes. So for some houses, it's not easy access for her children. So I spend couple of hours to explain to her this. For example, the doorway maybe not fit your children. The glasses panel maybe not good for your children because your children he could smash to the glass because there's no side, no safety sides or sort of things. So after that one inspection for her, she come back to me second time, third time, fourth time, and I realized, wow, I actually it's not like to making money, so I'm helping people. So from that moment, I will change my mind. I'm thinking I changed my mind to this way. Instead of doing business, why shouldn't I thinking I'm helping people to find their own dream homes or dream house? So from that opinion, that I feel little bit like fulfill my targets.
Yeah, good. No, I understand what you're saying. It's a great story. And what is there any other client stories that come to mind where your inspections has really helped them out, or you've done something and maybe stopped them purchasing from something, or is there any other stories like that come to mind with what you've been doing?
Can you? Sorry,
Are there any other stories, like customer stories, like where you've given them a report and they've stopped, you stopped them from making a big bad decision, or is there anything that comes to mind from a client, a customer story that sticks out to you?
Yes. So one time when I inspection buildings, and I found a lot of major defects.
Yeah.
But for my point of view, I'm a little bit struggling because the vendor, he is a older man. He wanted to sell the property to living in the aged care center.
Sure. Yeah.
But
downsize. Yeah.
As you can see, he is the old man, and how can he maintain his house?
Yeah.
So I found so many defects, like water leaking, major defects, roof water leaking, structure defects, and
right.
so I thought the condition is not good for the buyers. So, but the buyer they hire me, so I can only write down all the defects I found. So I be frankly talking to the buyer. There are a couple of major minor issues. You might, if you want to buy these houses, that's the things you need to face to deal with. But the buyer, he is good. He wanted that property. He liked the location. So he asked me, he said, Eddie, what can I do? I said, you probably can ask some qualified builders and tell them to fix that, fix this. So at the end, it's good result. So the buyer, he's saying, okay, they're happy to spend extra money to fix the property.
Yep.
And the vendor, he can move to get the money to move to the aged care centers.
And do people use your reports as a negotiating tool? So, for example, they might find that, you know, there might be 100 defects or whatever it is, and that helps them with the price?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So most of times, major defect would help them a lot.
To try and negotiate a lower
Yes.
price, right? And when you find major defects and stuff, obviously you make a recommendation. Do you put them in, do you have like recommended people you put them in touch with? Or let's say, for example, you find asbestos or you find these major defects. Do you have contacts that then put people in touch with, or how does it work? Right.
Yes. So normally I wanted to avoid the conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So I won't initiate and talk to my client.
Right.
Who should they contact with? So I would wait for the client. They tell me, do you have someone?
Yeah.
So I will tell them, I will text them that's the subby their contract for the for example, asbestos remover, license remover.
Yeah.
So they will contact them straight away. So I will step out of that situation.
So that's great to hear. So you remove just for conflict of interest, right? Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And is there anything else I should ask you that I haven't asked you?
What else? Maybe not.
Yeah, actually, I'll ask you maybe then a couple of questions just to close it off. So just to reiterate for people, so when they're looking at on realestate.com.au or they're looking on domain, they're going, I like this house or they like this house or whatever, like when I asked you this at the start, but I'm just trying to just put it out to people. So when people are looking at buying a property, like how far into the actual process should they actually get you involved? So for example, should they speak to the agent first? Should they view the property first themselves, then get you involved? Or when's the actual time to get you looking at a place?
I would strongly suggest the client they should visit the house first.
Right.
Yes.
Visit the house first and then get onto you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So they have to make sure they do like this house.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they probably there's no point to reach us.
Yeah. And then so once they view it, then basically they really like it, then get onto you and away we go. Right. And obviously and it's not just houses you guys can do. You can do in apartments, all these other things as well. Yeah.
Yes. Commercial. We're not only doing domestic.
Oh, you do commercial building
We do
as well?
commercial as well. Yeah.
Right. Do you want to say someone's looking at commercial real estate? Is there anything different between that? Or is it pretty much the same thing? It's just a different thing you're reporting on?
Oh, commercial sometimes be challenge. So we do dilapidation
report for commercial property. Okay,
yes.
right.
So we do that as well.
Yeah.
And I want to make an example for me. So when we do domestic dilapidation to commercial, dilapidation for the domestic is most of the time probably spend 1 hour. So taking the recording everything in their joints and property.
Right.
Okay, but commercial sometimes is more time consuming and require more detail.
Right.
So I did have a couple of experience. One in the first grade. So that is big stock house. And they want to transfer into a badminton court.
Right.
It's about 5,000 square meters.
Yep.
And it took me nearly 1 day there to record everything.
Wow.
So for commercial, I think it's more the other skill set you need is to planning.
Right.
So for example, when you're standing in a 5,000 square meters, where should you start?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. That's a pretty big job. I haven't heard of many people. Maybe there has been people doing that, but I haven't heard of that. So that's good to know. So commercial property, dilapidation reports. So you mentioned the word dilapidation. So what does that mean as well, if somebody doesn't know?
That's before the dilapidation report is when the builders they want to knock down or they want to do extension, and their job could affect their adjoining
people next to it. Yeah, next to property.
Yep.
Right.
So they might dig a basement.
Yeah.
And that basement could affect the ground.
Yes.
And make the neighbor their footing movement. So that sort of things you need to do the dilapidation report, recall everything before you start a job. And
so they can't make claims saying, oh, you've done this to my house or...
Yeah, right. Sometimes your neighbor will come to you and say, hey, there's a crack on my wall. You do it. You make it.
Right. So it's basically just an insurance policy, I guess, in a way for developers, right?
Yeah.
And that's something you guys can do a bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Well, Eddie, anything else you want to say before we finish up today? Is there anything else? Well done on your first 12 months in business anyway, but I'll give you a shout out to your territory. So you service Box Hill, but you can service obviously all around there. And
so all the Box Hill, around Box Hill, South Box Hill, North, and Mount Airport, Brisbane, so all this area.
Yeah, so all that area. So if you're around there, obviously you need something done, get in touch with Eddie. But thank you very much for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And if you've listened to online, so make sure you leave us follow, subscribe, leave a comment, review. And if you need a Jim's Building Inspections franchisee, 131546, or just go to jims.net and make sure you get them involved, because they can save you a lot of money by getting them involved at an early stage.